Matt Likowski. I'm currently the Interim Director of Athletics here at Southern Connecticut State University, and I have the honor of, first of all, welcoming you all here tonight in celebration of this great dedication and event we have going here. I first started really engaging Coach Reid about, early spring as I was the chair for our soccer coach, our new head soccer coach position, and from there, he really gave off a passion and dedication, one, to Southern, so it's awesome to have him back here, back in the fold a little bit more. Even for me as a growing upper administrator, to have someone to lean on and look at, he's got a wealth of knowledge that's been really, really useful to myself. But two, I also got a feel of how much family really mattered to him and how much he wanted to make this event about his mother and father. So, as we start to, really think about that, anyone that works in college athletics knows that there's weekends, there's late nights, there's travel, and, you're only as strong as the support system you have behind you, your family, your siblings, your wives, your children. They're the first people that when you come home after a game to congratulate you after a win, but more importantly, they're the ones that you get to talk to and decompress after a loss. So I can't stress enough how much the support system of family matters, especially in this field. And I definitely felt that from Coach Reid as he started to prepare this event. I was 100% on board, as well as all of our administrators and coaches here. Like, let's do this. Let's honor family, because we really don't have that so much around the room. We have a Hall of Fame, as you can see at the top of the stairs, and I guarantee you, if you talk to every one of those Hall of Fame members, they would say the same thing. I wouldn't be here without the family that was behind me this entire time. So let's just celebrate that for a moment. So as we progress the next part of this program, I want to welcome up to the podium our Vice President for Student Affairs, Dr. Tracy Tyree.
Thank you, Matt. Good evening. Thank you all so much for being here. This is exciting to meet so many people in the lives of the Reid family, and you come from so many interesting different walks of life, even including but not only limited to Southern, and that's really cool. On behalf of President Smith, who's really disappointed that he is out of town and unable to be with us today, it's my pleasure to celebrate Ray Reid and the Reid family here together. Great. Coach Reid has been a true Southern owl since he arrived in 1983. He earned 3 degrees here, including a bachelor, a master's in economics, and a master's in physical education. I am especially impressed, Coach Reid, with the economics degrees, as that was one of my harder classes in college, and I could not imagine majoring in it. We were quite fortunate that he chose Southern for his college career, transferring to us in his 2nd year. He got the taste of NCAA play as an undergraduate as he led our team to 3 consecutive NCAA National Championship Final Fours. Pretty impressive, huh, team? It was natural then that Coach Reid would join the coaching staff that next year. He continued to learn under legendary coach Bob Dekranian, and upon Coach Dekranian's retirement in 1989, he took the helm. Coach Dekranian is here with us. Right here, yes, yep. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you so much. It was the beginning of a long and successful career as a head coach, both at Southern and at UConn. I would like to lift up Coach Reid's tremendous success as head coach here at Southern. He took the team to postseason play in 7 of the 8 years he was head coach. In addition to the 3 NCAA championships, they were also runner-up 1 year and in the semifinals 2 other years. I can't imagine that there are many head coaches who have had that kind of success for so many years in a row. After his first year, they never lost more than 4 games in a season and generally lost fewer than that. His overall record when he left Southern for UConn was 146 wins, only 17 losses and 15 ties. That is just incredible. Incredible, Coach. Coach Reid was recognized for his success many times over, including with honors by the NSCAA Coach of the Year 3 times while he was here at Southern. Not only did Coach Reid continue the elevation of Southern in the world of men's collegiate soccer, his success at UConn certainly reflected well on our Southern Owls. While I only had the good fortune to meet Coach Reid earlier this year, it is clear that his love for his alma mater has been long-lasting. He's been extremely supportive of Coach Anderson's return to Southern as our head coach this year, and this generous gift to honor his parents reflects his investment in the future of our program. We are incredibly grateful for what this gift will allow our program and look forward to how it might be a catalyst for others to give. The Raymond Senior and Joan Reid Wall of Excellence will be a regular reminder to our players of this legacy of success and inspire athletes for years to come. Coach Reid, on behalf of the leadership of Southern Connecticut State University, thank you so much.
Our next speaker is a Southern Connecticut State University alum, was a former assistant coach and resulted in the national championship as one of the banners up there. I think it was 1992, if I'm incorrect. And then also was our first head women's soccer coach here at Southern Connecticut State University. So please welcome to the podium, Coach Jim O'Brien.
Hi, everyone. So you all know who I am now. I was raised college roommate, too. That's probably my most impressive credential. We all have so many great memories here. And what happened in this building and out on Just Dow Field, there were so many great times between Coach Reid and myself. It's been a tremendous experience, and I just absolutely loved every minute of it. I will say that Sue was talking about pickleball, and I think Doc Fitz, wasn't the pickleball invented here, right in these courts over here, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah. The guys were all, Coach the Cranian included, all the coaches were out there, ADs and whatnot, playing pickleball. So, and that was many, many years ago, and now it's a fad, right? Also, tons and tons of people here, like dignitaries like Larry McHugh. I'm just in awe and honored to be able to speak in front of all of you people. I forgot the guy up there, Rick Letty, and of course Doc Fitz, the Hall of Famer as well. I will say that I was a communications major, and Doc Fitz carried me through the whole thing. Okay, and now here's the pinnacle. I don't have any PowerPoint. I got index cards. Definitely old school. We're here to honor 2 great people who loved SCSU. And Mr. Reid, he went by lovingly Big Daddy, okay, or Pops Reid. And then Mrs. Reid, I always called her Mama Reid. But in the end, it was Mr. and Mrs. Reid. Just out of respect. The grandchildren called her Grandma, and Pop Reid as well. Again, for me, it was always respect Mr. and Mrs. Reid. Throughout the playing days, Ray and I met at Suffolk Community College. And when I first got there and Ray and I first connected in junior college, there was this man that used to stand to my right. If you don't know, I was a goalkeeper. Doc Fitz called me Angles O'Brien, and it was usually due to class missed excuses. That was the angle. And he always used to say, low to the left. That's where I struggled a little bit. Goalkeepers can appreciate that one. But again, Mr. Reid would be there off to the side, basically to my right. And it was just always a very comforting feeling. And then when I came on here to Southern Connecticut, out on that old field, Coach DeCranie, remember that place? He was there too, to my right, watching the game. And one of the things about Mr. Reid was he would never give you his opinion, okay, unless you asked. And then he'd give you his opinion. And he'd be like, OB, why'd you give up that goal? Everybody calls me OB. He was always there watching. And then just outfield comes along, and he's got someplace to sit. And I was talking to Coach during the game. He would sit up in the stands over, if you're facing the field, over to the left-hand side. Okay, and Mrs. Reid would be far, far away. That was some agreement that they made. I don't know when, but he was here and you were not. That was some long time agreement. I'm sure that everybody here, a lot of the guys and the people who are affiliated with the program, have stories that they could tell about Joan and Ray Sr. They all had an impact on us, all very positive people. Win, lose, or draw, and there was a lot of wins. There's no doubt about it. Two people, Mrs. Reid always with a smile on her face. Mr. Reid, it all depended. But he was always there for a joke. He was always there for a pat on the back. And overall, he was just a good supporter of our program. One of the things I've always felt as a coach, that the kids that I've coached in any program I've been involved in keep me young at heart. I think all of us here that have impacted Mr. and Mrs. Reid, kept them young at heart as well. I think that was something that was really very important to all of them. Okay, Dr. Fitzgerald, again, Hall of Famer. How many people in this room were educated by this man? And I'm not the only one that he carried through. Joe Hines is another one. Okay? He was just a tremendous mentor to so many guys that were involved in this program. We all had amazing mentors as well. I think the most important one is Coach DeCranian. I'm on a time limit, so I'm going to be brief with all this. Okay, it's just pretty simple, and I don't think there's anybody that had any experience with Coach DeCranian, the best American soccer coach in college soccer, without question. Next, Coach Lang. You really carried the torch for our program. Stepped in with big shoes to fill and won 2 national championships for us. And Coach Anderson, basically the holy trinity of Southern men's soccer, did their due diligence and got us the right man for the job. Congratulations on the win today. And to you guys upstairs, again, impressive win. There's only been a few games I've had a chance to see over the years, recently in particular. Look around you. You're looking at greatness. Wherever we go, we are known as Southern guys. And that Southern guy name, is with all respect you can possibly imagine. Being a Southern guy is something that you need to be proud of. Trying to contain myself. I do want to share you a story about Coach DeCranian and myself. So when I started the program here at Southern, Coach DeCranian had the unenviable task of assisting me, with the program. And he used to watch the games and at halftime come down, and he'd have sheets of paper, like sheets and sheets of paper. And we started a program. The first year we were 3-9. No disrespect for any of the players that were there, but we were off to, kind of a rough start. And I used to say to him, and I'd use this to this day, and I use this in halftime talks to this day, I'm like, Coach, 3 things. Just 3. And then the other one was he would tell me in the course of our very, very best year that I had here at Southern Connecticut, he tried to get me to change a player. We had a top player, and he tried to get me to move her to another position to get her playing time. And I was frustrated, and I was a little bit argumentative with him. And he said to me the ultimate compliment. He's like, "You're just like Ray." And all I did was I just smiled, because I felt like that was the ultimate compliment. Okay, so, that's what I wanted to close it with, because Coach DeCranian was super important to me. However, in the end, I've got one of my best friends right here sitting in front of me, and you can all see the generosity that the man possesses is unparalleled. He and I have gone through since junior college days all the way to us standing here right now, and he is a true loyal friend. In good times and bad, he's always there. He's always there. And if you're bored at 5 o'clock in the morning, you want to make a phone call, he's your guy. And again, we could go on and tell stories that we've been telling for a very, very long time. At this point, I'd like to present Joan Reid and Ray Reid Jr. to the audience. Thank you very much.
That's my second son. Before I read my speech, I want to just say that my days at Southern Connecticut was the best. And what Jimmy said was true. The only thing was I sat there, and he sat about 4 buildings down, up in the top, because I sat with people who laughed and talked, and you didn't do that during a soccer game. You had to know when you went home that Joe passed to Bill, and Bill passed to Bob and got it in the net. I said, did the ball get in the net? Did we win? That's all that matters. And that was it. So you can see Coach Reid and I disagree at times. I'm truly honored to be here tonight. My husband, Ray Sr., would be so proud to see what is being done on behalf of him and I. Soccer has been a huge part of my life since I met my husband in 1956. I'd like to start out by thanking our Director of Athletics, Chris Barker, our President, Dr. Dwayne Smith, Tracy Tyree, and the Southern Connecticut State University family for allowing this to happen and for recognizing my husband Ray and me. Southern soccer was a big part of our life in the 1980s and 90s. We made many friends here in New Haven, but our greatest joy was getting to meet and know the players, some of which I see here tonight. This was like a second family, as everyone made us feel so comfortable. Ray Sr. loved coming up to watch the Owls play. We always built our fall schedule around the Southern Connecticut State University soccer schedule. I cannot express how thankful I am to be honored here tonight. So many people put so much time in building Southern soccer. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the father of Southern Connecticut State University soccer, Coach DeCranian, for what he did for my son Ray, the team, the program, and this wonderful university. I remember celebrating 4 of the national championships in 1987, 1990, 1992, and 1995. And really, to the moms out there, isn't that what we want? To see our son achieve what he's wanted since he was this small? Ray Sr. and I spoke often about the joy that Southern Southern Community Soccer has provided to us in our lives. Finally, I would like to thank one more time everyone who made this happen tonight. It has taken village to this program, and I feel very fortunate to have Ray Sr. and I recognized tonight. I can't wait to be at number 7 when Coach Anderson adds to our wonderful trophy case. And to my family that could not make it tonight, I miss you and I love you. In closing, I would like to say thank you to our son Ray, his wife Valerie, our 2 granddaughters, Katie and Danielle's husband, Tim, for everything they did to make this event so wonderful. We love you, and Pop would be so proud tonight. I'm just a little bit ahead of myself, but we are great-grandparents, and the little boys' parents both played soccer. In fact, they're fighting over who's going to coach them, and they're teaching them how to do a goal, get a goal in, and they put a net up there, and he starts here with his hands up in the air, yelling, "Goal!" So maybe he'll come to Southern Connecticut. I don't know, but the soccer will go on in our family, and I want to thank everybody who came tonight. You have no idea what it means to me. And he's looking down, and he's saying, "I finally made it." Thank you, and be careful going home.
Before I start my speech, you guys today, I have not been here for 20-some odd years. We despise Southern New Hampshire. We used to be New Hampshire College. And beating them was the best thing that happened today. Great stuff, guys. Congratulations. I don't like to write speeches. I kind of like to take them off the cuff, but because of tonight, I don't want to forget people, so please bear with me. I prepared something. I'm going to read it. I want to thank our president, Dr. Smith, Dr. Tyree, former athletic director Chris Barker, and Kevin Anderson for honoring my mom and dad tonight. Also would like to thank our former president, Michael Adante, our athletic director, Ray DeFrancesco, our associate athletic director, sports information director, Rick Letty, our faculty rep, Dr. Larry Fitzgerald, and most of all, my coach, Coach DeCranian, for believing in me and providing me with the opportunity of a lifetime to be the head men's soccer coach at Southern Connecticut State University. Want to recognize one gentleman that's not in the speech. I didn't know if he'd make it. When I played here, we'd go to the spring football game, which was, the unofficial end of the spring semester with football, and there'd be a game and a barbecue. And a lot of soccer guys would go, because we hung out with the football guys, with Jeff Stoutland and those guys back in the day. And they always talked about this guy coming, and I don't believe Michael Adante was the president yet, maybe close. And he'd come and everything would stop. And this gentleman has done so much for this university, so much for UConn, so much for the state of Connecticut. And frankly, he's helped me for the last 30 years. I'm so happy he's here, Larry McHugh. And his wife, Patty. Can all of the former Southern Connecticut players and coaches please stand up for a minute? Please. Anybody who played here or coached here? Our program... You guys can sit. Go ahead. Our program was built with all of your sweat, blood, and tears. You're the reason we have 6 national championships. You're the reason we have so many former student athletes successful in the real world. On behalf of Coach DeCranian, Coach Lang, and Coach Anderson, thank you for everything you've done for us. Southern is my home. I came here January of '80, and it's done so much for my life. Southern provided me with the roadmap for success. I learned so much about life on this campus. I learned about hard work and paying attention to detail. I learned about what commitment and perseverance meant. I wish my dad was here tonight. He would have been so honored about what Southern is doing for my mom and him. He was a fantastic father. When I played here, we didn't have just outfield. We played on a grass field out there, and the Wednesday or Tuesday matches started at 3 o'clock. My dad lived in the middle, towards the east end of Long Island, and he was working at night as a printer. He worked from 7 o'clock to 2 a.m. in Manhattan. He would drive up here on the weekday games. He'd watch us play at 3. Game would end. He'd wave goodbye. He'd walk down the hill, get in his car, drive into Manhattan, which we all know what the traffic's like in New Haven at 5 o'clock. Get there 7:30, be late, miss his lunch hour, work to 2 a.m. And he did this every Tuesday and Wednesday for the 3 years that I played here. On the weekends when he'd come up for the game, I'd come out of the locker room, he'd be sitting over here. There used to be a kind of wood awning, and he'd be sitting there on the wood. He made the ultimate sacrifice for me, taught me how to play as a kid, and I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky I had him. My mother's the backbone of the family. She gets us through the tough times. She internalized and solved all the family problems. She never let her children or anyone outside of the immediate family know when there were problems. She is someone that always did for others. Her nickname was and still is the Iron Horse because she took everything on. When my dad lost his job when we were in high school, my mom worked 70 hours a week to make ends meet. She never said a peep. Her best friends had no idea the situation we were in. When I got divorced, I had 2 young girls. And we had an apartment condo in Manchester where there was a master bedroom, living room, kitchen, a bedroom for each of the girls, and a bathroom. And she'd come up when I was at UConn to help me because I'd be recruiting, coaching. And she'd come up every weekend. She's 65 years old. She'd come up every weekend. And the first night, she'd sleep with Danny on an air mattress, 65 years old. Kate was in one of the beds. The next night, Danny was in the bed, Kate, my mother, on an air mattress. So 65 years old, she slept on an air mattress every weekend for about 3 years. My grandmother woke up crippled in 1964. And to this day, I don't know why. She was in a wheelchair. My grandfather would bring her down every Monday morning. He'd work 8 to 4. My mother put her in the car, put the wheelchair in the trunk, go to the mall, get her out of the car, put her in the wheelchair, take her in the mall, bring her back, put her in the car, back to the house. 5 days a week for 20 years. Never asked for a single thing. She's an exceptionally strong woman. She's very independent and very stubborn. I am very fortunate to have her good qualities and not so fortunate to have some of her bad qualities. So many of our former student aides are success stories in life. I'm very fortunate to be in touch with many of them still to this day. One of the concepts we always preached here is that we were a family. I have the good fortune of speaking with our president head coach, Kevin Anderson, 2 or 3 times a week. Chris Parker had a great vision, hiring Kevin. He'll be a great coach, mentor, role model for our student athletes. He will reinforce what it takes to be successful in life and what is important in life. Kevin is a great leader and cares about his players. I have no doubt he's going to attract great people to Southern and add a 7th national championship trophy to our case. Kevin is a winner, but more importantly, he's a giver and not a taker. Kevin is the 4th head coach in the 55-year history of the program. Just want to congratulate Coach Lang. He took it over, won 2 national championships, did an outstanding job, and he's here tonight. Tommy, thank you for everything you did. Kevin will leave his mark here when he's done. People ask me, why did you make a gift to Southern? I made this gift because SCSU and Southern soccer changed my life. My time spent here as a student athlete, was better than I could have ever expected. Southern provided me with the skills to survive in the real world. It provided me with the tools to deal with adversity. It provided me with the ability to lead men. I owe so much to the university. My closest friends come from the university. What this university did for me, I could never pay back. I'd like to thank our support staff that helped build the program. I'd like to thank our equipment manager, who's no longer with us, Bill Sullivan. I'd like to thank our assistant and associate athletic directors. I want to thank Rick Letty. Where's Rick? So right about here, I get hired in 1989. And we don't have a big budget, so we're going to games in vans. So we go up to play UMass Lowell, and we are struggling, and Lowell is terrible. And we are struggling. We beat them 4-0. It was like a loss. So we van back, like 3 vans of players, down to Dixwell Avenue, and there was a Ponderosa or a Sizzler, and the budget was very big back there, so we were able to get the salad bar. I turned to John Dealey, my assistant. I'm like, our trainer was Danny Best. He drove his car to the game. He was very close with our assistant SID, Kenny Poison. I said, Deals, did Kenny Poison go home with Bestie in the car from Lowell? Because back then, right, and this isn't UConn basketball, this was Southern soccer. You call a couple newspapers, you call Channel 8, that's it. You file a report, right? About 45 minutes. And we left. So Deal's like, yeah, he had to go with them. So we eat. We get in about 9 o'clock. It's pitch black. We open the door, and here's Rick Letty standing in the dark. Well, we left Kenny Poison up at UMass Lowell. and him and his wife had tickets, I think, to an opera or a show that night, and Kenny's bus was going via Boston to Waterbury. So the fact that you're here tonight is amazing, Rick. I love you. Thank you for what you did. That, I got to give the devil his due. The other problem was Coach DeCranie had this great idea. We do an ad booklet. So each player had to come with like 2 or 3 ads in the preseason, like $300. Rick would print it, and we'd make maybe $5-10 grand and put it into the account. Rick got a little annoyed when the players were giving him ads on paper towels and napkins with like 3 days to get the book done. Rick, I love you. Thank you for what you did for our guys. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize the athletic trainers, the doctors, and I'll tell you about our doctor in a minute, and the nurses who have greatly impacted my life. Dr. Lewis, God rest Mike Adante's soul. We're in the Final Four in 95. We win the semis, I think 2 or 3-0. Gil gets 2 goals, and his ankle's blown up like this. We're calling the team doctor. We need him to be injected to get the swelling down on Saturday to play Sunday. This guy won't answer us. He won't answer us. I call Mike Adante at home, and I say, Mike, blah, 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 blah. 3 minutes later, the doctor calls me back, calls in a prescription, Gil gets injected, and we win the national championship the next day. Also would like to share with you a little bit about my mentor, my friend, my coach, Coach DeCranie. Jimmy O'Brien was right. This guy was the best college coach because he developed players. He turned players into men. He won games, and he did it when there wasn't a lot of athletic scholarship here. Coach was different from so many coaches in that era. He worked extremely long days. His priority was the Southern soccer team and specifically his players. He felt that he was here to serve the players. We would train when we played here. Now, today would be abuse, and he'd be fired. But we go in there at 9:30, and we train to midnight, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And the real bonus was on Sunday, we only had to go from 6:30 to 9 at night. Right in there. And then lift at 7 the next morning. But it was about getting guys better. I remember he took Kevin Gilbride's lineman. Kevin asked him to do this. And he got these little soccer balls this big. And he went up behind the stairs in the basketball arena in this small area, and he had all the offensive and defensive linemen doing things with the ball 3 days a week in the spring to improve their footwork. This is the kind of guy he is. He put everything into it. He taught us toughness, resiliency. He taught us how to practice 4 times a day in preseason. 4 times a day. And one of them was running up West Rock with that duster, with Victory Soccer in the back, pushing the last guy up the hill. God is my judge. He taught us how to compete. He taught us loyalty, discipline, commitment, and how to strive for perfection. He was a father, a friend, and most importantly, he was an authoritative figure to all of us. He went out of his way to help us and teach us how to be good people. He did so much for me. I worked with him, I think, 7 years as assistant. It was like I got a PhD in coaching, and I mean that sincerely. And he knew, the beauty of the man was he would only give you the information if you asked for it. When I took over, he did not want to be a burden. He would only give me the information if I asked him. He would never volunteer stuff. I could be up here another hour talking about him, but he built Southern Soccer. But it wasn't just soccer he was chasing perfection in. It was everything. His mentality is passed on to many of us. Coach changed my life. Southern Connecticut changed my life. I'm so very lucky to selected Southern to attend. Those of you here tonight who can afford to, please give back to Southern women's soccer and Southern's men's soccer. Whether it's $25, $50, or $100. You can help change a young person's life the way Bob the Cranian changed your life and what this university did for all of us. In closing, thank you to everyone who came out tonight to honor our mother and father. Thank you for making our Mother's Night so special. The memories that our parents have from their times at Southern are so many. This is a very big chapter of our life, and one that I know my mom and dad are very proud of. Thank you.
So I'm the guy who has to help this group win the 7th national championship. So my name's Kevin Anderson, and thank you to the Reid family for sharing such special memories and for helping us celebrate such a special family. I think you've all heard the message. It's been pretty loud and pretty clear. And I ended my opportunity to speak to you when I was assigned and given the opportunity to be the next head coach. And I said, my coach coined it best. You coined it up the street in another town at another school, but we took it. And he said, it's always going to be our family versus their team. And if there's one message that you can take away, that's always been what this community has been about. From the time I attended, and I look back on the reasons why I chose Southern Connecticut, they go back to a young goalkeeper who grew up in my town called Jimmy O'Brien. And so my time with Jimmy O'Brien started when I was about 10 years old. Jimmy would swing by, that dates you a little bit, I'm sorry, buddy. I might have been 12. Jimmy would swing by the house. My mom and dad would say it was okay. I was allowed to go with him and walk up the street. If you remember, we went to Elf Court. We jumped the fence so we didn't have to go around to get over. And we met up with all these amazing guys who went to St. John the Baptist High School, which is the high school that Jimmy went to, the high school that my brother went to, and then the high school that I went to. And so we followed this journey. And you think that the relationships that you build along the way are not going to be amazing and impactful. And so those relationships, people remember. They remember how you greet them, guys. They remember how you say thank you. They remember when you open the door. They remember when you take the time to show that you care. And our message has been consistent. We don't negotiate and we don't stop. And if you can take those lessons with you, then those lessons are going to carry you into moments in your life when you have children and when you have families, just like the Reid family, that you get to celebrate. You get to celebrate with grandparents. You get to celebrate with children. You get to celebrate with great-grandchildren. And you get to remember an extremely remarkable man. So now I know where my dad got the idea when he came to games to watch my brother and I to sit on the other side. It must have been with Pop. So we go to Stores, Connecticut, I'm coaching at Columbia University, and we're being hosted by Coach Reid's team. Two things. One, Coach, thank you for the guarantee and the money to help us. It's amazing. You are the one who keeps on giving. And to the guys, listen, the van rides are over. We've fundraised a decent amount of money so far, so we're taking buses, all right? So I walk past Coach Reid, who I get to speak to on a regular basis and have throughout my coaching career and my playing career. And I see this gentleman sitting down to the right. And I go, Coach, is that your dad? And he's like, yeah, that's my dad. So I walk down, I go over, and I go, hey, Mr. Reid, how are you? I'm Kevin Anderson. He goes, I know who you are. Get on the other side of the field. We're playing against you tonight. So just to share a little bit about how the Reid family has traveled. I want to just take a second and recognize all the coaches in the room, and I know it might be a little bit redundant. But in the room, you have some really, really special people and people in my life that helped shape my opportunity here. So when I think about Coach DeCranian, and I think about Coach Reid, and I think about Coach Lang and Coach O.B. and Coach Quinn, these are the guys who helped us form and do all the things that I'm now asking you guys to do. Some of the things that maybe you don't necessarily always like, but I think when you reflect, you know that they're always important. And then to our administration, for all of your help to put this amazing event together, right? It doesn't just happen overnight. To Dr. Fitz, Dr. Fitz, I don't know what OB did in your class, but I studied, I was there. I didn't need the flashcards. It was just muscle memory. And then to my good friend, and somebody who helped me get through some really difficult times in my first few years here, Jack Mordenti. Thank you so much for coming and everything that you've done. Rick Letty, who you heard Coach Reid talk about earlier. I'd like to recognize Andrea Duffy and Connecticut Junior Soccer League. You've always been an amazing part of this journey. And then Mr. McHugh, this is the first time that I've got to meet you in person, but the things that Coach Reid has shared and what you've done for us here in the state of Connecticut is just simply amazing. To your wife and I, thank you so much. And I think I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize the members of the DeBrito family that join us here today. John, one of my teammates, boy who played here, gentleman who I played with professionally. We coined the hashtag JD14 in John's honor. Kareem, you've been doing an amazing job as somebody who's representing the DeBrito family and John and his memory. And so, Val, to you and to your entire family, thank you so much. Dr. Tyree, thank you. Thank you for making the time for something that I think you know is really special to all of us, to all the players, to the former coaches, to myself. And I'd like to just take a quick second to thank Chris Barker. Chris started my journey here with the support of all of you. Chris has now moved on, and our opportunity is very similar. We have coaches that were here that built a foundation for us to step upon. When Chris left, I shared a message with Dr. Tyree in concern, a new guy getting here. And Dr. Tyree assured me that we have the foundation here as a community that we are going to reach out. We are going to find who will be our next leader in athletics. And to our interim AD, Matt, what you've done in Chris's absence and everything that you've done to help us put this together is just simply amazing. Thank you. To Judite and to Frank and our development team, I know you have lots of places that you could be. I assure you there's no greater place in New Haven to be tonight than sitting here in the lobby, right, of the Moore Fieldhouse. Thank you so much. Soon enough, we'll be going upstairs. We'll be doing the unveiling of the Ray Sr. and Joan Reid Wall of Excellence. And I think the most important thing that you're going to see is you're going to see a picture of two people who truly loved. That picture is the representation of what it is that we're trying to show all of you. Through good times and bad, through hard times, that you stick together. And I know that right now in the media, this guy called Deion Sanders is so big, right? And he talks about his dogs. right? He has all of his dogs, and it's out of respect. And what I shared with you guys a couple weeks ago is that our definition of dogs are guys who don't let anyone stay behind. They're guys who pick each other up. They're guys who help each other. They're guys who believe in one another. They're guys who know when to reach out when your teammates need help. And so if we can continue to be those things, and we continue to look at the wall of excellence as an opportunity, I know everybody here wants more of those on here. They want more national championships. The most important thing, guys, is that you win today. And if you take those characteristics and traits with you tomorrow, then we'll put more of them up here. I came back to try to make a difference in people's lives, the same way that you heard the Reid family has made a difference in their children's lives, and the same way you've heard the impact that this community has had on them. So it's my pleasure to invite everyone upstairs. We're going to be doing the unveiling. We like to call it the soccer wing. It really is just down the hallway and to the right, but now we have the beginning of something special. We'll do the unveiling upstairs. Everything will be streamed live. Everything that you're seeing today you can find on our websites and archive. And then after we do the unveiling, if you all would please join us down the stairs and to the right, you'll see some of the new and improved locations that our student athletes and coaches now have for recovery rooms, relaxations, and meetings. And then finally, a special thank you to Sidoksu for hosting our event this evening. So to the Reid family, this is the beginning of something really special now that I have this opportunity. I promise you that all the characters and traits that you saw in your son and that you believe in your grandchildren, those are the same ones that I'm going to do my best to instill in these boys. Congratulations to the Reid family. If we can allow the Reid family to just access upstairs first, we'll be going upstairs. You'll see players on our team pointing you in the direction, and then once our video cameras are set, we'll do the unveiling of the Wall of Excellence. Thank you.